Happy Monday and greetings from Tampa. It's day 39 of Walk with Winston and I am back home. Oh my goodness. I was adding it up this morning. So, let's see, 14 of the last 17 days I have been on the road. And so when I teach in the Win the Gift, Change Your Mindset About Change series, that you need to add novelty to your transformational routine. Being back home in Tampa feels novel today. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. I'm just back from the Free to Dream conference in Nashville and really enjoyed it. The content was outstanding. Execution was really good, and the connections that I made with people that I've met only virtually just really warmed my heart to be able to spend time with them and feel their energy and be with them in person. So I'm so thankful for the time that I got to spend with the team there in Franklin. But probably the biggest insight I got from the conference, the biggest takeaway I took from the conference was some of the stuff I shared yesterday, which is making a decision, which means to cut off all other options and to step through into the transformation that I have been really imagining and dreaming for myself. Ken Davis wrapped up the conference yesterday with an autobiographical review of his life and how he reached threshold at a significant part of his life and when he saw his physical capabilities, and when he came to the conclusion that he would be unable to assist his granddaughter should something happen to her at the beach, that he would be physically unable to take care of that precious granddaughter. It pushed a button with him, pushed a threshold with him that made him turn something he'd been considering, maybe like a should, into a must. It became something that he had to pursue. And fortunately, because he took action, he's still with us today. And he was able to, later in life, assist his granddaughter in a time of great need. So his concern, his warning light, the blinking yellow light behind him proved prophetic, and that he needed all that physical capability later on to care and attend to his granddaughter. So that brings up a couple things for me in terms of these divine appointments, these divine nudges that we get to take action. We really need to attend to those. When we get those nudges, they're for a reason. And I wonder, Ken didn't really cover this. I wonder if that photo on the beach and seeing his inability to respond and have capacity to help his granddaughter wasn't a prophetic warning that proved later to be absolutely needed. So that's a topic I didn't intend to hit when I hit the start button this morning, is paying attention to those little nudges. Maybe we'll dig into that a little bit more later. But I wanted to talk about, as we get to really understanding our why behind our transformation. Sometimes we have to be on the journey for a bit, like I have, and taking small daily actions, like I have. But then after a while, you recognize that you're not reaping the benefits that you'd hoped for in that transformation. And so this conference ended up being a very important pause button for me and kind of taking stock of my transformation so far. And in the process of evaluating it and looking back at it, looking back at the summer, where I've checked off a lot of great boxes. This is probably 84, 85 days into the challenge with my sister, where we have taken massive action to get out and walking and increase our step count. So that's been a super positive result. It's bonded me and my sister very, very well, and it has gotten me out and more physical, and I definitely feel the benefits of that. But this weekend, I was looking, and I've studied Tony Robbins, and I was looking for extra rocket fuel, extra fuel behind this transformation. So Tony teaches that you have to take, something that you're in favor of and turning it into an imperative. Well, I'm a rebel by nature, and I know a lot of you who watch this, especially those of you who are online entrepreneurs or business owners or other people from my era. We've got a wide rebel streak in the back. And so when somebody says to us, we must do something, it's almost like an invitation to do anything but that. That is certainly my personality in many, many dimensions. But I'm creating this as an internal must. And for those of us who are rebel personalities, something that is an internal must does not feel like something I should rebel against at all. Actually, it creates more urgency, creates more excitement, creates more intensity in my work, in my path. So as you think, and so how do you get to that place? Well, what I did was I looked at a bit of a pro and a con list to simplify what I did. I looked at all the reasons that I would benefit from the change that I'm working towards health-wise, and I looked at all the cons for not taking massive, consistent, and immediate action. So I put it in that frame. I tried to identify things that would be super painful on the con list if I didn't proceed with this with due pace and intensity. And then on the pro side, I looked at the pleasures that would be coming my way if I took consistent, massive, and immediate action. And when I looked at those lists side by side, it was clear. It was clear that this was not something that was just a good idea. This is something I have to do. I must do it. See? I'm getting a vote from the parking lot. Yes, it's something that must happen. And if you don't, that alarm is going to go off. That's the alarm telling you got to get serious about this. Anyway. So as you think about your transformational journey, have you been drifting? Have you been 1 foot in, 1 foot out? Oh, if it happens, it'd be wonderful. If it doesn't happen, it's okay. Just kind of lukewarm water. In the Bible, Jesus talks about how the kingdom of God is not like that. We can't be lukewarm about our love for God and our commitment to Him. He spits that out. He'd rather, and that reminds me of a United Way story. I once did a rally at a appliance repair store, and I went to that meeting because I had been told that the people there had been awfully rude to previous volunteers who would go in and try to enroll them and get them committed to considering giving back to the community. And there may be a ton of reasons why people don't want to support a charity, but there's no need for people to be rude or condescending or mean, especially to volunteers. And so, as it was my custom for public speaking situations like that, I tended to blend myself into the back of the room with other speakers were on and kind of listened, especially to the back 2 rows, because those are the people who typically don't want to be there and are grumbling a little bit. So you can always kind of get the temperature of the room from the back row. You get at least the worst of the temperature of the back room. They're the coldest part of the room. And I listened to it, and when it was time for them to call on me, they were a little surprised that I was the speaker. I went to the front of the room and I said, look, there may be really compelling reasons why this is not for you. And I'm here to give you some reasons why it could be for you, that this would be a good investment for you and your family and your community. But let me just say this. I don't want your $1 gifts. Either this is something you really, really believe in and are committed to and wanting to see done in our community, or you don't. There's no middle ground here. And so if this is not something that stirs your heart and something that you believe in, put a big fat 0 on the card. There's no repercussions for doing that. In fact, I'd rather you take a stand and say, hey, this is not for me. However, if it is something for you, I want you to search your heart and see what you can do to help others in our community. We got a lot of 0s, but that was the single biggest jump in the last 5 years of that particular group of people's support to the campaign. So I urge you today, and think about this. Am I lukewarm about my transition? The transition that I'm seeking, the transformation that I want, the change that I see is important to my life? Have I been just lukewarm about it? Or am I on fire for it? Lukewarm is drifting, procrastination, delay, denial. We've got to go get this. And I don't know if you hear it in my voice today, but I have a different determination, and I have a different level of commitment to this transformation, and it's time. It's just time. I'm at threshold, and there's so much I want to do, and it's time to start taking massive action. It's a must for me now, and my rebel spirit is embracing it, because I see all the opposition and all the excuses as something that must be defeated and will be defeated. With that, you guys have a great Monday. I'll talk to you again soon.